Hey Gators and sports fans, get all your Gator talk, news, analysis, and opinions on the Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning podcast. Find us on your favorite podcast platform or watch us on Facebook Live between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. every weekday. Pod Up, because we are Gator fans. So say it's great to be a Florida Gator.
Good morning and welcome to a Thursday edition of the program, Pod Up with Matthews in the Morning, from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. We're back in action here. We've got a good show lined up today. We'll have our college football analyst, Brent Beaird. And the second part of today's program, we'll have the weekly word with Whit. Trent Whittemore will have his guest, Evan McPherson, kicker of the Cincinnati Bengals. But let's go ahead, and if you missed it last night, Gator softball defeats UCF. Gets back into the win column. Let's head to the Titan MR hotline now, and we're joined by our college football analyst, Brent Beaird. You can follow Brent on Twitter at Brent Beaird. Good morning, Brent. How are you?
Shane, doing well. Good to be with you, and we've got kind of a stormy day ahead, so we folks need to be aware of that this afternoon, that it's moving in, but hopefully it will move through quickly.
Yes, no question about that, Brent. Some stuff's always happening in college football, but majority of the teams are, especially in the SEC, have cranked up spring ball. We have a lot of dates set for the spring games. The only one that's getting like regular attention are the Georgia Bulldogs. Everybody else, I believe, is going to be on the SEC Network Plus. Is that correct?
Right. Yes, and people need to be aware of this if they're looking forward to watching the spring game and they can't find it. They need to find out over the next few weeks how to access SEC Network Plus. Now, the first few games, which will be next weekend, Auburn, Kentucky, and Texas A&M are on the 9th. We've got a plethora on the 16th. So, and as Shane said, the only game that's going to be televised on your regular cable is going to be Georgia on Saturday, April the 16th, and that's going to be on ESPN2. I'm still going to be very curious to really find out why that we've got this plus situation. If it's commitments with softball and baseball, or what this is about. I know that there's still the networks are trying to push people gently into the streaming world, and that's kind of where we're going here. And by the way, we also have a list of the ACC games. I won't go into all these, but what is obvious here on the ACC network, there's not a plus there. It's just the ACC network. So the ACC network, which obviously has not been in existence that long, the SEC network much longer. So Shane, that's the big difference. Didn't mean to belabor the point there, but people just need to be aware, and Florida fans included, that on Thursday, April the 14th, they need to find out how to work the SEC network plus.
Exactly, and I think a lot of it has to do with what you mentioned. They set their baseball and softball schedules way in advance before spring games come out, I think, and that's why you're seeing only Georgia. I don't know why Georgia. I guess because they're defending national champs.
Yeah.
Get it on regular cable, but as you in the ACC, I don't know how much softball and baseball they show on the ACC network. So you're right. So if you're listening and you're not going to be able to attend the game, if you're like me, don't wait till the last minute because you don't have any. If you have no idea how to do streaming and all that stuff, you better figure it out now.
Absolutely.
Speaking of the ACC, David Cutcliffe, former Duke coach, has now been hired by the SEC. A lot of people thought he would end up being a so-called analyst for Sarkisian at Texas, but this has got to be a great hire for the league.
Yeah, I think it's a tremendous hire. And to dovetail what you just said, there was a report out a few weeks ago about the possibility we're not saying he was going, but the possibility of David Cutcliffe going to Texas. Well, just connect the dots here. Arch Manning, the number one recruit for everybody, it obviously has ties to David Cutcliffe and is strongly rumored to be among Texas among the schools where he might go. So the thought maybe was if Cutcliffe goes to Texas, that maybe Arch Manning will follow. That is not the case, or at least I'm not saying he won't go to Texas. I'm just saying David Cutcliffe won't be involved here. This is a good move. And Shane, frankly, we're not even really sure what all he's going to be doing yet. I mean, there's a bit of a job description here, but I think a lot of this is to get a guy like Cutcliffe in the fold. Everyone knows him. He works well with people. He's been around the league, obviously, Ole Miss, Tennessee, outside the league, Duke. But he is a really good coach. He is a level-headed guy in a lot of ways. And I think part of this may be that the league office and Greg Sankey wanted more direct access and maybe a bit of a liaison with the football coaches. I think some of this probably has to do with the coming expansion in the playoff, to have a guy who will assist in this. But regardless of what it's going to be, you hire David Cutcliffe for anything, and I think that's a smart move.
Yep. Dan says on Facebook Live, brought to you by Meldon Law, Shane, get a new AOL disc. I don't even know what that is, Dan. I don't even know if AOL is still around. I have a hard enough time turning just my computer on to do Pot Up with Matthews in the morning, so much less finding out. David asked this question here on Facebook Live. It's a good one. I want to see what your thoughts are, Brent, then I'll chime in. David asked, would Arch be the number one recruit if he had a different last name?
Well, that's possible, but the reality is he is a generational talent too. I mean, anybody who has time, Google what he's done. I mean, he's got really good numbers. He's certainly got the pedigree. He also is a basketball player in a really a good basketball player. I'm not saying he'd go to the NBA or anything like that, but he is a multiple sport athlete. So, but it is a legitimate question, and there's no doubt. If his name is Arch Smith, does he get this kind of attention? Probably not, but I still think that with what he can do on the field, that he actually lives up to it.
Yeah, he's got everything you're looking for. He's got the stature. He's got a good arm. He's way, way, way more athletic than Peyton and Eli.
Yeah, that's true.
And as you said, what I love about him, he's a basketball player, just enjoying playing with his buddies, his friends there, his teammates at Newman. Whereas, some of these guys that think they're all this, they want to focus on their one sport. But he's still enjoying his high school days, which I'm a firm believer. Play every sport you can until you can't play it anymore for some reason. It drives me crazy when these kids specialize. Brent, the Outback Bowl now, I'm sure many people have heard, is now going to be called the Tampa Bay Bowl. Coaches probably don't care. Fans don't care. I know who do care. People like Brent Beaird who go up in the press box for the Outback Bowl game.
Yeah. Well, look, and even in the press release about this, it will have a new name and a new logo, and that basically is going to be the only changes. Frankly, it's a New Year's Day Bowl. The SEC and the Big Ten, or ACC and Notre Dame is also involved with that. So they'll keep the same venue in Raymond James, and that's basically going to be it. I'm going to be fascinated to see what other benefits come out of this as far as changing your name. But frankly, again, I'm sure that a lot of this is to emphasize the city of Tampa and what they've got to offer, which is a lot. So we just want folks to be aware of that if they're looking for the Outback and all they see is the Tampa Bay Bowl, it's the same thing.
Yep, just no good food for the press and the press box.
Yeah, really.
Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State got a pay raise.
I'm curious what you think about Gundy, but look, Gundy has done a really good job at Oklahoma State. He got a $1 million raise. That's not too bad, is it, Shane?
No.
Frankly, 149-69, 16 straight bowls, 7 10-win seasons. Only Nick Saban and Dabo Swinney have had more success. They were 12-2 last year with the Fiesta Bowl. And now think about this. Oklahoma and Texas soon, hopefully sooner than later, are going to the SEC. And man, they will be top dogs, won't they, with Baylor at that time. $7.5 million with a $1 million. Listen to this, Shane. With a $1 million annual retention bonus if he stays around. That's a pretty good deal too. Now, let me mention this. Gundy has admitted this a few times in interviews. Gundy has been up for the Tennessee job like 3 times. I don't mean once. I mean like 3. And his name's been bandied around for a few other jobs. But Shane, my question to you is: A, what do you think of him? And B, if you've got this kind of deal with your main competition leaving, wouldn't you be coach there for life?
Yeah, and plus you played there. So I just don't see him going anywhere. I think he's done a phenomenal job with that program. I think he loves that program. Yeah, I don't see, and I want to say he's got to be close to my age, early 50s. So I think if he was going to leave Okie State, he should have already done it. I think now with the money he's making, he's got that program pretty stable where they can compete at a high level. I think he's done a great job. Brent, there's you sent me a list here of 5 of the kind of the most important coaching hires, changes, however you want to phrase it. You want to go over those?
Yeah, I give Matt Hayes, our colleague, credit for this. And he puts them in order. Eric Wolford, who's going to Alabama, and I've heard that he did a tremendous job at Kentucky with their offensive line. And Alabama struggled with their offensive line last year with Doug Marrone, the former Jag coach. So hopefully that will improve. Corey Raymond is number 2. Corey Raymond, and I think your listeners have understood this by now, Corey Raymond's an elite football coach. He is one of the best recruiters in the nation. I don't mean in the SEC. I mean in the nation, frankly. And by the way, I'm gonna dovetail something here. There's a Florida note I want to go over with Corey Raymond. Corey Raymond has had a staggering 16 defensive backs drafted since 2010. This means that if you're sitting in a defensive back room with Corey Raymond, 1.5 of the guys around you will be drafted in the first 3 rounds every year.
Wow.
Matrix Analytics came up with that. I'll give credit where it's due. But when I heard that they had gotten Corey Raymond and they made him a priority, we knew with his reputation at LSU that he would be a tremendous pickup for Florida. Quickly here, Cortez Hankin, wide receivers coach at LSU. This was a big loss for the Georgia staff going to LSU. Brian McClendon, wide receivers coach at Georgia, leaving South Carolina. And Ike Hilliard, the receivers coach at Auburn. 11 years in the NFL, head coach in college. He'll be interesting to see how he does as a recruiter. So that is Matt Hayes' 5 position coaches, and these are good hires too, Shane.
Yep, and you also have a power poll, so to speak, of the best trifectas in the SEC with your quarterback, running back, and wide receiver.
Yeah, I won't go into all these for time's sake, but Alabama and Bryce Young and Jahmyr Gibbs and Jermaine Burton, Gibbs from Georgia Tech, Burton from Georgia. We could have said that years ago. We can now. Number 2, interestingly enough, is Tennessee, with Hendon Hooker, Jabari Small at running back, and Cedric Tillman at wide receiver. I agree with that about Tillman. Kentucky, amazingly, is 3, but for good reason. Will Levis at quarterback, Chris Rodriguez at tailback, easily one of the best running backs in the league. Tavion Robinson at wide receiver. Now, some of these others here, like Texas A&M is Max Johnson at quarterback. We don't know if he's going to even be the quarterback. Davion A-Chain and Evan Stewart, tailback and wide receiver. Same with LSU. Miles Brennan, Noah Cain, and Keyshawn Butte. I buy that without any problem. Noah Cain coming from Penn State. Butte, who's been hurt, one of the better receivers in the league, with that too. So, but anyway, again, I won't go into all of them, but there's some good trios here.
Yeah, Matt Hayes ranks the Gators at 11th out of 14 teams with Anthony Richardson, Montrell Johnson, and Xavier Henderson. I feel like that should be a little bit higher, but I guess he needs to see it to believe it.
Sure.
Before we jump around the league, Joey Gatewood, who went to Auburn, went to Kentucky, went to UCF with Miles On, has now switched positions.
I saw Joey when he was in high school, Jacksonville kid, and he was incredible in high school. I mean, let's just be honest here, he was bigger and stronger than anybody on the team, so they put him at quarterback. So he basically just ran over people. Now look, he has never been an elite passer, and that happened at Auburn, Kentucky, as Shane said. But now what it looks like, they moved him to receiver. Now he's 6'5", 221. So imagine matching him up on a 5'10" quarterback. So we'll see how that works. But good for Gus for trying this. I mean, Shane, it may not work out. We don't know. But at the same time, I think if you're going to get him on the field for the majority of the plays, that's probably where you need to put him.
Yeah, and you bring up high school. I coached against Joey Gatewood for like 3 years in high school, Brent.
Right.
I coached against Anthony Richards for 3 years. They were the biggest, strongest, most athletic players on the field, both of them. Yes. And they're very, very similar. They were like the same guy to me. We'll see if Anthony ends up. Obviously, Anthony had transferred, thank goodness. But when you talk about body type, what they look like in high school, throwing the football, running the football, they're both the same. Anthony's a little bit bigger now, probably about 240. But they remind me of each other. All right, let's get to Ruse Ogre. State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. They offer auto, home, life, and health insurance. Go visit them at ogreinsurance.com or give them a call at 352-240-1779. Speaking with Brent Beaird on the Titan MR hotline. Brent, let's jump into the SEC. Alabama, obviously, the big news you hear coming out of their spring is obviously Jahmyr Gibbs, the tailback that we discussed a few minutes ago. Boy, they really like him.
Well, and they really do. And we'll bust through these schools and get as many in as we can. Gibbs, the transfer from Georgia Tech, catches the ball well. He's not a big kid. Shane, he's maybe 5'10", 195, but he has great hands. And right now, I think he may be the starter in Alabama, frankly. I mean, you bring guys in to do this. Now they've got good running backs. There's no doubt. Rodell Williams, Chase McClendon. They're coming off knee injuries. Trey Sanders, I understand, is having a really good spring too. But they really do like Gibbs, just what he can do. Saban at Pro Day yesterday asked about the team. He said we've got 9 starters back on offense and 9 starters back on defense. Now, I rarely say things like this, but I'm going to. But in my guess, Alabama last year struggled in a lot of ways, but they still made the national championship game. They are significantly better this year than they were last year.
Yeah, I agree with that. The Hogs are taking their backup quarterback with his explosiveness, giving a little action at wide receiver.
I like this, Shane. I wonder what you think about it. Look, Hornsby is a really good athlete too. We know KJ Jefferson is a giant in a lot of ways, but Hornsby just really athletic, and it's kind of like Gatewood a few minutes ago, Shane. At some point, I know you run the risk if KJ Jefferson gets hurt, but when you've got a guy as big and as athletic as a Hornsby and a Gatewood, don't you do what you can to get him on the field?
Yes, you do. There's no question about that. Auburn, they had another kid that entered the transfer portal. They don't really know who their quarterback's going to be because Calzada, I believe, is coming off an injury and can't participate. What's going on up in Auburn?
Well, if you're an Auburn fan, it's just been a difficult few months. Eric Reed, the cornerback, has re-entered the transfer portal. He was in, he was out, now he's back in. So we'll see where he goes. Calzada, who was with Texas A&M last year, will not play in the spring because he's got a shoulder injury. So that's a problem. TJ Finley is the quarterback right now getting first-team snaps. They have got so few players. Now, look, I don't know what the number is, and really right now no one else does too, but they are way under 85. I mean, I've heard anywhere from, Shane, they're in the 60s to maybe the lower 70s as far as number of players. Now, look, that will get better, and it will improve as it goes along. But in Auburn, it's not just Auburn here. There are some teams that got so many injuries, it's almost hard for them to have a spring practice.
Yeah, speaking of injuries, the Gators have had a bunch of injuries at the tight end position. I honestly don't know if they had to play a game today. I think they'll really only have one tight end that can actually play in an SEC type game. They'll have to play a bunch of wideouts. But it's injury bug has hit that position.
Unfortunately, has Keon Zipper and Gage Wilcox looks like are the 2 scholarship tight ends who are available. Jonathan Odom, Elksness, correct me if I'm pronouncing that wrong, Shane. Nick is his first name. They are out with a broken scapula and torn labrum, so that's going to take a little while to get going too. And these are shoulder injuries, and I know you've had your share of stuff before.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you have surgery on this stuff, I think they're having to be pretty gingerly with some of these guys. That's kind of what I'm reading around the league, because I'm for whatever reason, Shane, I'm seeing more shoulder injuries with teams this spring than I am knee injuries.
Yep, no question. And then the tight end position's hurting up at Athens, Georgia as well.
Same thing. Absolutely. They've got 3 scholarship tight ends, Eric Gilbert, Brett Sether, and Oscar Delp, who's an early enrollee. Brock Bowers, he's being held out. Shoulder surgery. Darnell Washington with a lower leg injury. Look, they'll be fine. That's not going to be an issue with that, but they're just taking precautions. They've also got inside linebacker C.J. Washington will miss the rest of the spring with shoulder and neck injury. So the thing about it is, again, as we mentioned earlier, Georgia will be the only SEC team that will be on your cable network, and that they'll be on ESPN2 on April the 16th.
Yep. LSU, obviously, they have a quarterback battle going on. Do you get the thought that Jaden Daniels, the kid that transferred from Arizona State, will end up being their starter?
Maybe. There's some reports about that. Now, Garrett Nussmeier and Miles Brennan are also involved with this, too. So they're still trying to figure this out. Miles Brennan has been at LSU for quite a while. He is on his fourth offensive coordinator: Matt Canada, Steve Ensminger, Jake Peace, and then the new coaching staff that they've got. He's on his third head coach also. Now, Brennan, two things real quick here for you. One is Brennan loves Brian Kelly, and what he said is, and I thought this was fascinating, he said, this is the first head coach that I've got who understands footwork, arm slots, arm angle, to weight transfer, throwing to our drops, that he has dealt with so far, because a lot of coaches aren't that experienced in that. And so my question is, head coaches who understand quarterbacks, and two would be, how does it affect the guy to have that many coordinators and head coaches?
Well, we know Coach O didn't know a damn thing about playing quarterback.
No.
But I guess from Miles Brennan's comments there, I'm curious what his position coach, the actual quarterback coach, was teaching him the last couple of years.
Good point.
I think Miles Brennan can throw the heck out of the football. Before he was injured, he was having a hell of a year. He was on pace ahead of Joe Burrow. I don't think people realize that. He's the all-time leading passer in the state of Mississippi. So the kid can throw the football. If I'm coaching that team with my style of offense, and I've seen Notre Dame a little bit. He likes a little running quarterback, but I would lean towards Miles Brennan. But I still got a feeling Jaden Daniels is going to be their guy, which for Gator fans, I think that's a good thing, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Let's switch down to A&M. Didn't A&M have one of their big-time receivers enter the transfer portal?
Yep, they sure did. Demond Demas is in the transfer portal, 6'3", 180. He is a 5-star talent, but the problem is he was involved with a domestic violence incident, so he has been shown the door. So this is a guy that's got to get his head together, frankly, and behave. The other real surprise to me was Baylor Cupp, a fabulous tight end prospect, is leaving A&M too. Cupp is 6'7", 240. So a really good-sized kid, to say the least. And they're still trying to figure out who their quarterback's going to be. Obviously, with Haynes King, maybe the guy, Max Johnson, and the Wegman kid, who I understand may end up redshirting. We don't know about that yet. But Max Johnson's brother, Jake, it looks like he's probably going to be the tight end. So, look, they've got talent everywhere with all these classes, Shane. But even with all that talent, the day and age we're in now, if these guys don't see that they're going to be the guy, I don't care how many 5-stars are there, sometimes they read the writing on the wall and they start heading somewhere else.
Yeah, they definitely. It's crazy, the transfer portal. I have a feeling you're going to see guys leaving Florida after the spring is over.
Yeah,
I don't know exactly who, but I think it's going to happen across the country.
Sure.
At Chris Doring Mortgage, they do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. A few more minutes here with Brent Beaird on the Titan More Hotline. Brent, you got some nuggets for us?
Let me throw an FSU note in here because they are the rival. Now, Mackenzie Milton is gone. Jordan Travis is going to be your quarterback. But they've added a guy, A.J. Duffy, that he's a talented freshman that the coaches have really raved about. So they needed a good backup, and they've got it at this point. So I think that is important. South Carolina is doing well. They returned their entire offensive line. They've got most of their defense coming back. Obviously, Spencer Rattler at quarterback is going to help them a lot. That team could be pretty sneaky, frankly. So let's keep an eye on them. Lane Kiffin loves Michael Trigg. I remember he came over with Jackson Dart from Southern Cal. And Kiffin can use a tight end and do a really good job with that. Missouri is still waiting as far as what their quarterback situation is going to be. Remember, Missouri is one of the teams that J.T. Daniels, the Georgia quarterback, is looking at. So right now in Missouri, spring is over, but Eli Drinkwitz is trying to figure out Brady Cook and Tyler Macon are the two guys who were there during the spring. I meant to mention a minute ago, LSU safety Pig, P-I-G, yes, Cage, just like Nicolas Cage, is in the transfer portal too. So they've still got some guys who are moving on from time to time also with that. But Shane, I know we're pressed on time here, so that's some of the notes that'll be going on. We'll be talking about previewing some of the spring games next week. We'll get into this later, but Congress is proposing a bill to overhaul the NCAA infractions process, such as requiring the investigations to be complete within 8 months, and prohibits the NCAA from punishing a school for violations that are 2+ years old. I'm not sure how comfortable I am with the NCAA with the government getting involved with the NCAA, but I say that as that's something to look for in the future.
Yeah. Brent, before we let you go, give me your two teams playing for the national title Monday night and who wins the basketball tournament.
Great question. Kansas and Duke. And I think even with the love for Coach K, I think Kansas may be the best team. But it's going to be a fun New Orleans Final Four and Monday night. I think it starts at like 9:20 for some godforsaken reason every year. But at the same time, it should be a lot of fun.
Should be. Well, we had a lot of fun with you, Brent. We appreciate you joining the program as always. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
You too, brother. Can't wait. Take care.
And that's Brent Beaird joining us on the Titan MR Hotline. Going to take a timeout, come back. We'll be joined by Trent Whittemore and Evan McPherson. You're watching and listening to Pod Up with Matthews in the morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co. Some of our touchdown sponsors are MB Listing, McDonald's of Gainesville, My IT Masters, Gainesville Neon and Signs, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Avera and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, Ruse Ogra Agent, State Farm Insurance, Silver Cube Billiards and Sports Bar. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit podupwithshane.com and click the Advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, Make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another Weekly Word with Whit. Today I'm honored to be joined by former Gator kicker, current kicker for the Cincinnati Bengals, Evan McPherson. Evan, great to have you on. How you doing, man?
I mean, I'm doing fantastic. I don't think you have the honor. I think I have the honor.
I really appreciate that.
This fantastic show.
I really appreciate that. Evan is a former roommate, a good friend. Can't wait to get into some questions from myself, some questions from y'all. So let's get straight to it. First off, congrats on a great year, Super Bowl run, rookie year. Tell me a little bit about it.
Man, I mean, it was just so special. I think going into it, I knew we had a pretty good team, but I didn't know if we were going to go, to the Super Bowl or anything. I knew we had some good players, and some pretty good leaders. So I thought we had a chance, but for it to actually happen was so crazy. And, just to ride the coattails of guys like Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and all the superstars we have on our team, it was a lot of fun and a dream come true, honestly. That's how I'd explain it.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see if we can get back. That's definitely the plan, but it was definitely a season to remember.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I know you say you're riding the coattails of some guys, but you made a name for yourself as well. Kind of went crazy there on social media and just kind of throughout the nation on ESPN, all type of stuff there through the playoff run. What was that like? I mean, obviously you had a good regular season, but you kind of really popped off there in that 4-game stretch. What type of zone were you in throughout the playoffs?
I think I was just kind of in like it was really a zone that I've never really been in. I felt like, stepping out on the field, there wasn't, any way I was going to miss. And I think knowing that playoff field goal record before or after the first game really kind of set it off for me. It gave me that goal to really reach for and something to really strive for. And so that's just something that really pushed me and motivated me just to be the best that, I could be. So, yeah, I mean, I just noticed my name. So let's just look, everybody. We'll explain the name. I'm on my fiance's laptop. We're going to switch the name real quick.
Yeah, we'll do a quick pause. Go ahead and switch the name. I can go into a different question. Well, not necessarily a different question, but speaking to, I know you set the goal. It was 14, right, which you tied.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember hearing that. I think you went on Pat McAfee and said that. This was way more of a big time show than Pat McAfee. Just we'll get that out there. But yeah, I remember you saying that. It was cool, because then I had that in my head as I watched you, he's tracking down 14.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think I had kind of everybody along the ride, kind of watching me and I guess really wanting me to do it because I know he had said something to Adam about it, Vinatieri, and I remember he just, said that, I've done some impressive things and, he's happy that he can be there to kind of push me and that's exactly what he's doing. Everybody wants to kind of go after his record. So,
yeah. Something else that was on my mind. I know, when you're in the pros, everything is just so perfect as far as, or tries to be more perfect as far as your snap, hold, kick, operation, all that type stuff. It's very consistent, same guys all the time. I mean, you only got 3 guys on the roster who even do, each one of those jobs. Did that help you think, as a kicker, just being in that professional environment and being surrounded by other guys who are that good at their job?
Yeah, I definitely think it did. And, the snapper and the holder are a really big part of what I do. And they make my job a whole lot easier. I probably definitely made a lot more kicks with Kevin holding than I did with you holding, back in college a little bit.
I was thinking it was the other way around, but I guess.
But no, those guys are so important to what I do. And, maybe to have those guys back next year is going to be huge. I know we've had Clark re-sign. I know Kevin's still really trying to decide what he really wants to do. I'd love to have him back, but definitely understand if there's better opportunities out there for him. But Yeah, I mean, those guys are a big part of what I do, and I appreciate everything they did for me to make my job a lot easier.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, not that you had, bad holders or whatever. I mean, you had Townsend, Tommy. I mean, obviously he's in the league. He's still holding and he's punting really well too. And other guys as well. It's kind of cool. Florida's been a bit on a run here with specs in the NFL.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll go to halftime here. Just a little segment goes away from football. I'll start you off with a McDonald's or Arby's. I know you're a big Arby's guy.
I'm a big Arby's guy, but I feel like my guilty pleasure food, if you will, is McDonald's. I'd probably choose McDonald's over.
Chicken nuggets specifically from McDonald's?
Yeah, I mean, I get the chicken nuggets, I get the 2 cheeseburgers. I feel fat whenever I eat there a couple weeks in a row, honestly. So
you start looking fat too, I remember. Yeah.
That's fresh.
For y'all who don't know, Evan's a pretty good golfer, big golfer. So I got a good question for you. Would you rather win the Masters or throw back to your high school days, game-winning goal in the World Cup?
Back to my high school days.
Yeah.
Bro,
Evan did hit what'd you hit? State championship winning goal?
Yeah, that little state championship. We hit a game-winning header in the state championship game in OT. But
yeah,
I think I'd rather win the Masters, to be honest. I mean, the World Cup's probably
You're really quick to say that. I mean, it's the World Cup. Everybody watching.
Well, I know everyone watches the World Cup, but
I don't know.
I want to be a professional golfer. That's what I want to be in my life.
You want to be a professional golfer in your life?
Yes.
You're saying that, 100%. After football, you want to be a professional golfer.
I would like to be. I don't think I'm I don't think I'm good enough to be because I didn't grow up playing it. I've never really got coached for it. And I'm decent. So I feel like with coaching and just time,
yeah.
I'm not saying I could just turn professional in about a year. It's going to take a while, but I would love to, but I don't know if it's really going to happen.
Right. You used to beat me in golf. I used to beat you in basketball. Maybe I'll be a professional hooper, right?
Maybe. You got recruited for it.
Maybe. Beach or lake?
That's a good one. I mean, I got to connect golf with this one, so I'm going to go beach just because I love laying out on the beach, playing spike ball at the beach. Yeah. And then I love playing golf in the morning before you do all that. So I'm going to go beach.
Okay. Fort Payne, Gainesville, or Cincy? Come on, Gino?
Or a D option, all the above? Nah. Bro, I think I gotta go. Man, stuff to do. I'm gonna break it up. Stuff to do. I'm going Cincy. Okay. There's not really much to do in Gainesville, but if I want some good weather and good golf courses and all that, then I'm going to Gainesville.
Right.
And then Fort Payne, I'm just going to kind of relax, kick back, and hang out with the family.
Yeah, 100%. Dishes or laundry? Which one would you rather not do?
Probably laundry. I don't like folding and hanging up all this stuff. I'd rather do dishes.
Yeah. I didn't do the dishes too much back around the house, huh?
I'll let y'all know that Trent didn't do anything.
I want to say anything. I say at times. I was also a freshman. I've improved.
Okay. I hope you have. Jordan probably got you in place.
What'd you say?
Said Jordan probably putting you in your place, making you do that stuff.
None of that. All right, we got a couple texting questions from the fans. We always appreciate this. The first one is from Andy. He says, how much trash talking goes on prior to a big end of game kick? And what is the actual longest field goal you've ever made, practice or game?
I don't think too much. That's a great question, Andy. I don't think too much, to me at least, too much trash talking really goes on.
Guys are pretty serious. The game's on the line, right?
Yeah, I think the other team's pretty worried about, the rush, but you might hear a couple guys from like the other sideline kind of chirping at you. But like for me, whenever I go on the field, I don't really hear much. Just kind of in the zone. And the longest field goal I've ever hit in practice or a game was in practice at Florida at a 75-yard field goal.
Did you really?
Well, I didn't hit it with team. It was just kind of by myself.
Was it like snap hold or was it off the stick?
It was off of sticks.
What's the longest you ever hit off snap hold?
Whoa, 68?
Yeah, that was a practice too, right?
Yeah, that was we hit it twice last year or 2 years ago, whatever. Yeah, my last year we hit it twice.
Yeah, I remember that. We got Ben with what kind of guy is Joe Burrow?
What kind of guy is Joe Burrow? Joe Burrow's really a cool guy. I like him. He's really quiet and reserved. But I feel like if he's around the right people, he kind of opens up and he's kind of crazy. But I love him. He's kind of like, I wouldn't say he's kind of like me. I know he likes to game a little. He likes Rocket League, I hear. Yeah, he's a cool, super chill, calm, doesn't really talk that much type of guy.
Yeah. We got Richard. What's better, Montgomery and ribs or Skyline chili? Have you had both of those in your time in Cincinnati?
Well, I haven't had Montgomery and ribs, and I've had Skyline chili once, so I'll go Skyline.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Evan, he doesn't really expand his food boundaries much. He kind of finds one thing he likes and eats it all the time.
Yep.
Tammy, where's your brother going to go kick? He's already committed to Auburn, right?
Yep. He's committed to Auburn. He moves in May the 29th. So hopefully he'll be playing this season against. You going to play him this year or no?
We don't. Kid's got a leg on him, though, that's for sure. Give Alex a shout out. I hope he has a great year. And then Charlie, how much money did the losing team get for the Super Bowl, if you don't mind sharing the personal information?
I guess we can share that. I guess it's public information.
I think it's public, yeah. You can share it.
I think it was 75. I think the winner gets 150.
Yeah, I remember.
It's 75.
Yeah. I think what does it go? It goes like 30, 60, 75 if you lose.
62, 65, yeah. But I can guarantee you I got nowhere close to that.
Because you got taxed?
Taxed. Because we got taxed for California, too, so we got a lot taken away from us.
Yeah, rough times. Wished 1 year earlier you could have played in Tampa. That would have been a lot better on your pocket.
Yeah, and the old COVID restrictions would have probably been a little better.
Yeah. Well, let's get to a couple more football questions here. Let's take it back to the UF days for all our listeners. Give me your favorite memory on the field as a Gator.
My favorite memory on the field. Shoot. I think one favorite memory is hard to pick from.
Yeah.
I'll give you a couple. Definitely some of our New Year's Six bowl games. I'd say the Peach Bowl is a fun one just because, it was freshman year. And we beat a pretty good Michigan team. And then definitely the next year was a lot of fun down in Miami. But I'd say on the field, I'm going to say either the Auburn game in the Swamp or the LSU game. I think that was my freshman year whenever old Joe Burrow threw a pick six.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't here yet, so that was your freshman year.
Yeah, it was freshman year. Old Joe threw a pick six to kind of seal the game, and the stadium got pretty rowdy then.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other times. I thought 2 years ago at A&M when you hit that, how deep was that one?
53.
Yeah, that was a cool moment. We get backed up twice, and then you hit a 53-yarder.
Yeah, and that was kind of the tide, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was a pretty cool moment. I'll put that one in there.
Yeah, that was pretty big time. Any goals as you go onward with your career? You had just had a kind of a sensational run, as we've already talked about. How do you view that going into next year? Are you like, dang, I got to do better? How do you look at things? Are you just kind of, hey, let me kick good today or let me kick good this week? How do you think that?
I definitely think you have to have goals if you want to get better. And definitely my goals is to improve off of this past year. The regular season, I mean, to be honest, like I struggled a little bit there for a little part of the season. I kind of had a slow go at it. And so I definitely think I have a lot of things to improve on. I think I can get my extra point numbers up. Missed a couple of those. That's kind of disappointing. And I definitely like to increase my field goal percentage. I know I think I was like 3 points away from the single season, the most points in a single season for a Bengal. And so there's definitely some records that, I've got my eye on, going forward to next year. So just trying to, like you said, get better kind of every day and just trying to beat what I did this past year, just trying to get better every single year.
Yeah. It'll be a tall task, but I'm sure you're up to it with your skill,
Yeah, that would be fun because it's kind of like you get to take what you learned in your first year and kind of just bring it into your second year. And I feel like you're just so more calm, you know how everything works.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a pretty fun year.
For sure. Well, as always, we appreciate you for taking time out of your busy schedule. Y'all give me a follow on Twitter at Trent_Whit with 2 T's on the end to see next week's interviewee, and give Evan a follow. He's already got enough followers, honestly, so just follow me. Yeah, we really appreciate you, Ev. Also, shout out to you and your fiance, as you said, Gracie Grote. Y'all will be wed this summer, so huge congrats to y'all. Can't wait for that to celebrate. Well, that being said, like I said, give me a follow, and we'll get busy next week with another interviewee. Till next time, appreciate y'all.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, won't back down. Peachland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise. QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Great Clips, it's gonna be great. Our Gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, South State Bank, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co. Some of our touchdown sponsors are Campus USA Credit Union, Adams Rib Company, Doreen Wiebe Realtor, Caldwell Banker, MM Parish, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Big Mills Cheesesteaks. If you are interested in promoting your business on the show, visit potupwithshane.com and click the advertise button. Again, thank you to all the great businesses that support the show. If you like what we are doing here, make sure you follow us and support the businesses that support us.
The Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. At South State Bank, we understand that small businesses need a community business partner that they can rely on. South State has 4 convenient Alachua County locations. South State Bank, banking for member FDIC. We want to thank Brent Beaird, our college football analyst, for joining us on the Titan MR Highline, and also Trent does a great job getting his guests, and I want to thank Evan McPherson for taking his time as well. And again, I know some people shot some questions at Evan McPherson, but all you have to do is follow Trent on Twitter, and he will let you know, usually by Monday, usually on the weekend, who he's going to have on the show. And you send your questions and comments to the Titan MR text line, and we forward those to Trent, and he decides what to put on air. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. We enjoyed you listening to our program. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. We'll see you then. Take care.
Trying to get the fans Fired up, 2nd down and 10. Matthews rolling to his right, in trouble, can't find anyone. Now he throws it for Harrison Houston, who makes the catch. He's in the open field. Harrison to the 20. They're not going to catch him. Touchdown, Gators!